The moon was low in the sky on this cool Friday night, giving the abandoned highway a ghostly sheen. I was alone on the road, the eerie calm of the deserted road surrounding me. The only sounds I could hear were my engine's steady hum and the sporadic rustle of leaves moving in the chilly breeze. I was taking a detour that wound through thick forest on my route to a friend's house. The GPS said it was the quickest route, but everything seemed to be swallowed by the darkness outside my car window, making for a spooky environment. I had no idea that this nighttime drive would turn into a voyage into the unknown. As the branches of the overhanging trees formed an archway, and odd shadows danced on the tarmac as I wound my way through the curving route. I became immediately conscious of my isolation as my headlights sliced through the darkness, showing views of the surrounding woodland. The only thing with me was the radio, which crackled and periodically picked up bits and pieces of faraway stations. I filled with the dial, trying to find some music to break the silence. That's when I first heard it, a soft tapping on my car's roof that sounded like raindrops trying to escape the darkness. All I could see when I peered into the rearview mirror was darkness. I dismissed it as a hallucination, attributing my senses' trickery to the unsettling ambiance. The tapping resumed as I drove along, getting louder and more forceful every mile. A feeling of unease took hold of my gut. I attempted to explain the sound, thinking it might have been a stray animal or a loose branch, but my attempts at reasoning did not dispel the sense that something was wrong. The tapping became a rhythm, as though it was an attempt at communication. Ignoring my growing feeling of dread, I continued, the path growing bleaker by the minute. The highway appeared to be encircled by the forest, with its branches grabbing hold of it. The weird rhythm that developed from the tapping on my roof was a menacing symphony that matched the night's heartbeat. A dim glimmer appeared on the horizon as the odd chant went on. A flickering light swirled in the darkness like a faraway candle. I was intrigued and temporarily forgot about my discomfort as I followed the ethereal glow. The route brought me to a clearing where an abandoned gas station, lit by an unearthly light, was visible. Pulling into the cracked and battered parking lot, I scanned the site. With their corroded nozzles trapped in time, the gas pumps stood like ancient sentinels. The windows of the station were broken, and the flickering light from them created strange shadows on the walls. I felt a shiver down my spine as I got closer to the door. A sensation of dread permeated the air, and the distant tapping that had disturbed my voyage now reverberated through the deserted station. With a foreboding moan, the door cracked open to show a dimly illuminated chamber that appeared to be stuck in time. Stretching into the darkness were rows of dusty shelves, stocked with forgotten souvenirs and expired snacks. The source of the tapping, which was even more insistent than before, was a neon sign that flickered and said, "The Midnight Highway." I was drawn to investigate further by the sign that was hanging above a door at the rear of the station. I cautiously pushed open the door to reveal a small stairway that led down into the chamber below. The whispers that appeared to come from the shadows joined the tapping as it reached a crescendo. I sank down into the chasm and emerged into a subterranean room lit by flickering candles. Strange markings covered the walls, and there was a tangible electricity in the air. A shadowy figure with a frayed cowl covering their face stood in the middle of the space. The person said, "Welcome to the Midnight Highway," as their voice reverberated around the room. "You've been chosen to traverse the roads of the unknown." My mind was filled with questions, but before I could say anything, the figure reached out and held out a key that glistened with an unearthly light. I took the key instinctively. There was an invisible force pulsing across its surface. The figure said, "The highway awaits," before fading into the darkness. I went up the stairs and out into the chilly night with the key in my possession. The deserted gas station had become a doorway leading to an enigmatic world. The tapping on the roof of my car started up again, blending in with the whispers that felt as though they were coming from the night itself. For a brief while, I was undecided about whether to accept this mysterious voyage or turn back to the security of the known. But the Midnight Highway's attraction was too strong to refuse. I entered the chilly embrace of the night with a sense of resolve, the key throbbing with energy that matched the pulse of the road. The world changed when I turned back onto the empty highway. The trees drew closer together, creating arches over the road with their twisted branches. The sounds of whispers and tapping on my car roof turned into a symphony of voices leading me into the unknown. And the road itself appeared to come to life, extending into the distance without end. Unusual marks carved into the concrete radiated a ghostly light, directing me along the midnight highway. As I pushed farther into the unknown, the air crackled with an intensity that was beyond ordinary, and reality itself seemed to meld together. The world distorted and twisted around me with every mile that went by. The lines between the supernatural and the actual world dissolved, and I was engrossed in a fantasy world where time did not exist. The midnight highway turned into a portal to the fantastical, a place where the boundaries between dimensions were thin and strange things might be seen. The ghostly things that came and went as I made my way down the highway's curves and turns were something I saw. Gazing from the darkness, their eyes glistened with a luminosity beyond this realm. Now, the tapping on the roof of my car matched their quiet presence, producing a hypnotic beat that reverberated through the empty space. The unusual and paranormal began to weave a tapestry along the midnight highway. On the side of the road, ghostly apparitions danced, their figures changing like wisps of smoke. Unreal views that defied the laws of nature emerged in eerie settings. The road itself appeared to pulse with life itself, leading me farther and more into the unknown. The whispers grew louder as the night went on, exposing tidbits of lost histories and unsolved riddles. I caught a glimpse of the memories of others who had traveled the midnight highway before me, ghostly creatures enslaved to the road's everlasting rhythm, wanderers seeking lost truths, and lost souls seeking redemption. The key in my hands opened doors and revealed mysteries buried in the fabric of reality, resonating with the stories of those who had come before. The midnight highway evolved into a hub of paranormal activity, a crossroads where destiny's strands entwined to create a tapestry of lost mythology. Uneasiness accompanied each revelation. The murmurs alluded to a revelation that went beyond the realm of mortal comprehension, a deeper cosmic reality. The road appeared to be both a doorway and a jail, a contradictory place where the exploration process itself held the key to solving the riddles concealed by the darkness. A highway extended into the infinite, a serpentine ribbon that twisted through the cosmic tapestry as I continued to drive deeper into the night. The tapping on the roof of my car turned into a pulse that sounded through the material world at a fever pitch. The murmurs revealed mysterious truths and cryptic predictions that danced on the brink of understanding. I was suddenly overcome with the feeling of urgency as I got closer to a fork in the road that was glowing strangely. There were several branches off the midnight highway that led to different places. The key in my hand throbbed with a power that matched the seriousness of the decision I had to make. I wavered, caught between the attraction of unknown lands and my terror of the unknown. The murmurs begged me to enter the spaces where imagination and reality collided and to welcome the pandemonium. I took a deep breath and made my decision, the key opening a doorway to a world outside the realm of human experience. Once again, the scenery changed, and I was driving on a highway under the stars. Stars gleamed in the cosmic emptiness, and ghostly forms swayed along the side of the street. The tapping on the roof of my automobile created a beautiful song that echoed with the universe's heartbeat, blending in perfect harmony with the heavenly symphony. I saw celestial entities that were beyond the limits of form as I traveled the cosmic highway. With eyes that reflected ageless wisdom, they observed from the astral planes. The whispers revealed the interdependence of all things in the enormous tapestry of creation, speaking of cosmic cycles and timeless truths. The transcendent light emanating from the key I was holding unlocked the mysteries of the universe. The midnight highway evolved into a portal to the infinite and a link between realms beyond the reach of human comprehension. I could feel the cosmic energy currents pulsing through my body, tying me to the fundamental substance of things. But as the heavenly highway veered off into the distance, I came to a very important revelation. The voyage was the goal, and the midnight highway served as a metaphor for the never-ending search for information and self-awareness. All of the sounds and sights, the tapping, the whispers, and the cosmic symphony were parts of something bigger and beyond our limited senses. I was back on the well-known highways of the earthly world as the first rays of dawn lit the horizon. The whispering subsided, the tapping on the roof of my car stopped, and the key I was holding went back into its dormant form. It appeared like the midnight highway had let go of me and brought me back to the actual world. The events of the previous night kept repeating in my head like a strange dream as I drove through the calm morning. The beautiful scenery, the mystery figure, and the abandoned patrol station all seemed like bits and pieces of a fantasy voyage into the unknown. The key lay in my grass, a mere metallic thing with its mysteries hidden away once more. As the dawn rose in the distance, bathing everything in a warm glow, the happenings of the Midnight Highway remained a fascinating enigma, a story that pushed the bounds of reality and defied comprehension. It appeared as though the road had a life of its own, and anyone brave enough to navigate its curves would never be the same. The adventure of the previous night was still there when I got to my friend's place, like a faint echo. I laughed incredulously as I told the story, writing it off as a fantastical story from someone's mind. However, a deep-seated interest had been sown, a desire to solve the mysteries that lay just outside the reach of awareness. My soul was forever changed by the mysterious whispers and cosmic discoveries of the Midnight Highway. The key lay in my pocket, mute witness to the universe's secrets and a constant reminder that the line separating the extraordinary from the ordinary was as thin as that separating day from night. The open road therefore loomed before me as I drove into the dawn, a limitless vista of opportunities and uncharted territories. The Midnight Highway had become a part of who I was, a chapter in the mysterious adventure that is life that never stops changing. I was traveling down a desolate highway at night, with only the sound of my motor for company. The road ahead ran like an unending ribbon over the barren countryside, lit strangely by the moon, a thin sliver in the sky. That was the kind of night that made you wonder if you were really alone and gave you shivers. I couldn't get rid of the impression that someone, or something, was watching me as I made my way down the curving road, my headlights piercing the darkness. My senses were tricked by the shadows that appeared to dance at the periphery of my eyesight. However, I dismissed it, blaming it on the inherent discomfort that comes with being the only driver in the dead of night. That's when I spotted her, a figure standing by the side of the road, her thumb out, offering a lift. It seemed odd that someone would be out here by themselves at this hour in the middle of nowhere. However, my instincts took over, and I overrode my inner voice of wanting to pull over. She was a young woman wearing what appeared to be garments from a different age. Her old suitcase and long, flowing outfit didn't seem appropriate for the modern world. A shiver went through the car as she got into the passenger seat, and I couldn't help but notice that the regular sounds, the crickets, the wind, the night's heartbeat, were missing. There was a hint of melancholy in her eyes, but she responded, "Thank you," in a beautiful and sweet voice. "I've been waiting for a ride for a long time." The atmosphere in the car altered as soon as she was comfortable in her seat. There was an uncomfortable pause between us as the air grew heavy. I attempted to engage her in conversation to ease the tension, but she remained focused on the road ahead and gave me evasive answers. The more I drove, the less familiar landscape was. The road seemed to go on forever, and the surroundings changed into an otherworldly dreamscape. Unusual road sign symbols emerged, and the moon's strange illumination transformed the surroundings into a surreal landscape. My travel companion sat quietly, her eyes ajar as though engrossed in centuries-old recollections. There was an electricity in the air that I couldn't quite put my finger on. I peeked at her, observing the way her fingers made indiscernible lines on the old suitcase she was sitting on. She finally spoke, after what seemed like an age, her voice barely audible above a whisper. "It's nice of you to have noticed me. I've been cruising these highways for a while now, trying to find something that got lost." I couldn't resist having a chill down my spine. Her comments had weight, and old grief in them that went beyond the car's limitations. I asked her for further information, but she stayed evasive, providing cryptic answers that added to the intrigue. We were traveling along the endless road when I observed an odd fog beginning to surround us. The mist swirled and thickened, obscuring the route ahead of the automobile as it swept in like a quiet tsunami. I was overcome with panic and wondered if I should turn around, but the hitchhiker pushed me to continue. "I have to go somewhere," she whispered, her gaze riveted on the dreamy scene hidden behind the mist. A place where the past and present converge, where the threads of time unravel. I reluctantly made my way through the heavy fog, the outer world reduced to murmurs and shadows. We followed the winding path as it led us farther into the enigmatic area we had entered. Something charged the air, causing the hairs on the back of my neck to stand on edge. A mist suddenly dissipated, revealing us to be in a ghost town that had been trapped in time. The streets were empty, the buildings dilapidated and aged, and their windows cracked. We had the impression that we had entered a ghost town or a relic from a bygone era. My guide sent me in the direction of an old, rundown mansion on the outskirts of town. In the moonlight, its collapsing facade loomed, throwing long, menacing shadows. She turned to face me as I stopped the car, her eyes betraying a curious combination of melancholy and thankfulness. Her voice resounded across the deserted streets as she replied, "Thank you for bringing me here. This is where I belong, where I can find the closure I've been seeking." I silently observed her as she made her way to the mansion, her silhouette vanishing into the darkness of the doorway. There was an inexplicable heaviness in the air, as though our adventure had changed the fundamental nature of reality. Overriding my rationality, my curiosity led me to follow her inside the mansion. Inside, old wallpaper peeled from the walls and dusty chandeliers hung from the ceiling, creating a labyrinth of crumbling grandeur. A smell of decay and nostalgia pervaded the air. A room that appeared to be stuck in time was something I discovered as I continued exploring the mansion. It included ornate furniture, and one wall featured a large mirror. I saw the hitchhiker in its reflection, the ages separating us distorting her picture. With her back to the mirror, she stood in the middle of the space. "I've been stuck in a state of uncertainty for a very long time," she mumbled, her voice resonant with sorrow. "The key is in the mirror. It contains the remnants of a life that was lost and the echoes of the past." The space seemed to be alive with an unexplained energy, and I couldn't get rid of the impression that I was a cosmic pawn in a game of chess, a spectator to a multiverse tale. The hitchhiker begged me to assist her in escaping the cycle that imprisoned her in the mansion and in solving the secrets that kept her there. We followed ghostly echoes and forgotten memories as we looked around the estate for clues. The rooms appeared to move and alter, as though the mansion's construction itself defied gravity. Sounds of murmurs filled the hallways, telling bits and pieces of a sad story that had been told for centuries. The distinction between the past and the present became more hazy as we dug further into the mansion's mysteries. I got to see snippets of the life of a hitchhiker, a time of exquisite balls, horse-drawn carriages, and forbidden love. The mansion served as the setting for an ages-old story, a tapestry of hope and sorrow, treachery and forgiveness. However, the atmosphere became more oppressive with every disclosure. The air vibrated with a malignant power that aimed to conceal the mansion's secrets, and shadows danced across the walls. The hitchhiker's eyes showed the agony of a soul stuck in the passageways of time, and her desperation became evident. We arrived at the mansion's center and entered a room filled with an unearthly light. The large mirror, whose surface glistened with an ethereal brightness, stood in the middle. The hitchhiker approached it with a nervous yet yearning air. She said, "The mirror is a portal," her voice quivering with emotion. "It can cross the boundaries between worlds, enabling me to leave this miserable existence behind. But to unleash its potential, I need your assistance." I paused, feeling the burden of accountability descend upon me. I was both fascinated and afraid by the electricity that seemed to pulse through the mirror. The hitchhiker begged me to have faith in the trip and the chance of escaping the confines of time. I took a deep breath and moved forward, my hand resting on the cool mirror surface. A harmonic resonance shook the room, and it felt as though reality itself was twisting and warping. The mansion vanished, and I was left standing in a universe beyond the limits of the physical world. Beside me stood the hitchhiker, her eyes bright with hope. The interwoven strands of life became visible as the cosmic tapestry unrolled in front of us. We saw the tides of time, the dancing of the stars, and the never-ending cycle of creation and destruction as we traveled through dimensions. However, just as the cosmic voyage peaked, an unharmonious note was heard throughout the universe's symphony. From the depths of the cosmic tapestry rose shadows, evil spirits determined to trap the hitchhiker and imprison her in the mansion indefinitely. As the forces of light and darkness clashed in the astral regions, a cosmic conflict was taking place. I stood in the middle with the hitchhiker, our futures intertwined with the result of the cosmic conflict. The mirror pulsed with a brightness that resisted the approaching darkness, now serving as a conduit between worlds. The hitchhiker faced the darkness head-on, her eyes burning with a strength she had never experienced before. Her hushed utterances carried old power, a spell that echoed throughout the dimensions. The evilness of the shadows vanished in the presence of the cosmic energies encircling us. A mansion emerged after the cosmic conflict, with an ethereal light now touching its crumbling facade. With determination and thankfulness in her eyes, the hitchhiker turned to face me. She spoke with the weight of a millennium. "Thank you for helping me break free from the chains of time. Today, the mirror serves as both a bridge between realms and an entrance to new possibilities. But keep in mind that not all paths end in atonement. Certain routes are meant to remain lost in the eternal echoes." After saying those mysterious words, she disappeared into the cosmic tapestry and passed through the mirror. The mansion was a sign of transcendent vitality, but it had earlier stood as a symbol of decay. There was a sensation of rejuvenation in the air, and the land itself seemed to be resonating with the echoes of an ageless story. I was back on the freeway, the night settling back into anything like routine. The road ahead appeared to be unaffected by the cosmic adventure I had just completed as the moon hovered over the sky. The ancient bag, now resting on the passenger seat, was a mute reminder of the mysterious hitchhiker and the secrets that were kept within the home until reality broke through. The previous night's events replayed in my head like a strange dream as I drove into the light. The house, the cosmic journey, and the hitchhiker all seemed like bits and pieces of an extraordinary journey beyond the realm of human comprehension. A path, it appeared, had brought me to the center of the unusual, where cosmic secrets dance with the strands of time and space. So I drove down the highway as the sun was rising, the wide open space in front of me looking like an infinite canvas of possibilities. The hitchhiker had disappeared from sight, leaving a lasting impression on my spirit and a constant reminder that there were mysteries out there in the world. The old luggage, a relic from a bygone period, contained the ghosts of a timeless story that had been lost in the cosmic tapestry. The mystery of the night hung in the air. As I traveled into the dawn, it seems that there was more to the road than just tarmac and mile markers. It served as a doorway into the unknown and a route to places where the commonplace and the remarkable met. The hitchhiker who vanished had become a character in the cosmic narrative, a chapter in the ongoing tale of the enigmatic voyage we call life. I found myself on a lonely roadway that seemed to go on forever into the night, which was shrouded in a pitch-black darkness. The quiet hum of my car's motor and the repetitive thud of tires on asphalt were my sole company on this lonely road. It was the kind of night where everything seemed more intense, where anything could happen. A feeling of isolation descended upon me as I drove into the night, the dashboard lights softly illuminating the driving wheel. The radio, a reliable companion on such journeys, flashed with static as the signal reflected off the isolated terrain. However, a voice broke through the cacophony, seeming to come from nowhere. It was a low musical tone that seemed to be a part of the night itself. "Greetings, traveler." The voice came through the speakers. "You're not alone on this road," and it gave me a shiver. "I would want to tell you a story that goes beyond the realm of the commonplace. Pay close attention, as the darkness conceals mysteries that not many dare to reveal." Curious, I leaned in and listened as the enigmatic voice proceeded to tell its unsettling story. My eyes fixated on the road ahead. The narrative started with a town that was just like any other, with no unique name and ageless mysteries. The story took place in the night's shadows, when the commonplace blended with the remarkable, and the lines separating the known world from the unknown were indistinguishable from a cosmic dance. I got absorbed in the story as the voice used words to create a vivid image. It appeared that the town was plagued by a spectral presence, a shadowy figure that prowled the streets after dark. Locals whispered and huskily, "I've seen a dark figure that changed shape constantly and evaded them like smoke in the night." And the storyteller told of a night that resembled mine in many ways. An open road, an adventurous traveler, and the eerie remnants of a town burdened with its own mysteries. The voice described scenes of the thing, hints of its presence in the background, a silent observer in the shadows. The voice became more and more ethereal as the story progressed, its words resonating with an energy that seemed to be there in the car itself. The highway turned into a conduit for the narrative, a doorway into the uncharted territory, and I was captivated by the mysterious plot. The tone of the voice abruptly changed, becoming more urgent in its rhythm. "Traveler, you are on the exact route where this narrative takes place. The thing is here, observing, biding its time. It detects your presence and becomes aware of you. blending the boundaries between storyteller and listener into one shared reality. There was a shudder down my spine as the voice sounded like it was talking directly to me. I looked nervously in the rearview mirror, expecting to see the ghostly object. The road stretched out in front of them, its edges disappearing into the shadows. The voice went on, its words a whisper, now resonating in the recesses of my consciousness. You have to embrace the uncertainty in order to fully comprehend the story. Those who dare to walk into the shadows and seek answers are drawn to the entity. Will you solve the puzzle on your own, or will you join the story that reverberates through the dead of night? I experienced an odd urge, a tug toward the narrative center. The roadway guided me as if it were a cosmic story, with mile markers and road signs acting as mysterious symbols. Now, a menacing song. The voice begged me to embrace the unknown and bravely follow the night's turns and turns beyond the realm of the common. The mood in the car took on a weird vibe as I continued to drive into the night. The voice spoke in riddles, offering bits and pieces of an unexplainable story as the radio crackled with static. The highway that had formerly been a well-traveled route became a doorway leading to the enigmatic world where the narrative took place. The route took me to a town's periphery, where the peaceful streets shone with street lamps that flickered like far-off stars. I followed the voice's directions through the empty squares and twisting alleys, getting closer to the mystery with each step. There were still traces of the story hanging in the air when I parked my car in the town center. The silent observer appeared to linger on the brink of awareness, its presence evident amidst the darkness. I hesitated because I could feel the storyteller's words bearing down on me. When the voice came again, it was a whisper that seemed as though it came from the town itself. Traveler, you find yourself at the fork in the tale. The thing is waiting for you, its shape a mirror of your own worries and interests. Will you face your fears, or will you join the story that reverberates into the dead of night? I took a deep breath and walked into the center of town, my footsteps resonating through the empty streets. Anticipation permeated the air, and the shadows appeared to have a life of their own. The voice guided me to a rundown structure, the center of the enigmatic story, like a ghostly guide. The lone light in the room was a solitary, dim glimmer at the far end, shrouding the interior in darkness. The voice changed to a chorus of whispers as I got closer, exposing the last few chapters of the narrative. It appeared that the creature was an embodiment of all the town's secrets, a keeper of mysteries beyond space and time. The room appeared to hum with an otherworldly energy as the disclosures came to light. In the corners, shadows collected and formed a shape that resembled my own silhouette. The thing that had been a reflection of my doubts and concerns suddenly appeared in front of me. The voice finished with a melancholic tone that echoed across the space. You have to face the inner being in order to solve the enigma. That's the only way you can escape the cosmic story that keeps you attached to the story. Will you confront the emptiness as mirror, or will you merge with the tale that reverberates through the dead of night? I looked up nervously at the thing, a reincarnation of myself that seemed to represent the unknown recesses of my own mind. The air crackled with a cosmic energy that was beyond the tangible, and the chamber shook. The environment twisted and bent as I faced the monster. Reality folded in on itself. The town, the highway, and the night itself transformed into a kaleidoscope of bizarre sights. The thing that had become a specter of the unknown blended into the cosmic forces at work, erasing the distinction between the storyteller and the audience and creating a shared reality. A voice, the creature, and me all became strands in the night's cosmic tapestry at that very moment. The town became a constellation in the vastness of the unknown, and the roadway became a river of stars. It appeared as though the story had come to life and was now a tale that reverberated through the night. A faint hum of the engine and the repetitive thud of tires on asphalt came back to the forefront as the cosmic forces diminished, and I was back on the empty highway. The voice was unknown and now a distant echo, lingering in the air like a haunting melody while the radio crackled with static. The night loomed ahead like an endless canvas of opportunities. The highway seemed like a well-traveled route after serving as a gateway to the unknown. A voice, the thing, and the mysterious story had all become pieces of a bizarre dream, one that questioned reality itself and beyond comprehension. The sounds of the midnight radio played in my head as I drove into the dawn, a ghostly symphony that echoed with the mysteries of the night. It seems that there was more to the road than just tarmac and mile markers. It led to places where the commonplace and the exceptional met, and where secrets beyond the tangible were whispered in the midnight air. So I drove down the highway as the sun was rising, the wide open space in front of me looking like a blank canvas with limitless possibilities. The nighttime drive had evolved into an adventure into the unknown, a new chapter in the enigmatic story of the journey we all call life. The voice, the thing, and the mysterious story hung in the air, a reminder that the road was full of secrets that went well beyond the commonplace.